Hey, what's going on everyone? Seth Miranda here, last ex-witness on all social, and I'm back with yet another live demo from the archives. And this one was on Adorama's Facebook page, and I know you guys avoid Facebook like the plague, and I totally understand that. But this is actually a pretty good demo. It was cinematic character portraits. It looks pretty good. I think we did some really cool things. And I am actually on the road right now for 2 weeks, and I'm about to jump on a plane to head back to New York from Las Vegas, where I'm at right now. So I'm gonna edit this thing together, so I'm doing a quick intro to it for you guys. So what I usually do is download a bunch of my demos before I go teach places so that I can see what worked, what didn't, what can I explain better, what did work that I can lean into more and expand on, it's like that. So I have this on my laptop and I thought, this was a pretty good demo. I'm gonna put this back out there. So this is the intro to that, okay? So if you guys can let me off the mat a little bit about the quality of this intro and this live stream. I mean, it's Facebook, it's lower resolution, there's all sorts of issues, but I edited the best I can. I think it's still pretty good, but you know the deal. Hit me with a comment down below, let me know what you think about it. And if you wanna help this video out and this channel, hitting like definitely does that. Sharing the video around does as well. Hitting subscribe plus the bell to get notified when more videos that come out. And I hope you guys really enjoy it. Without further ado, take it away, Seth. Here we go, guys, from the top. Well, hello, how are you guys? What's up? Welcome. I'm very sorry for the late start and the false start. The internet crashed and then Facebook crashed after we got the internet back. So welcome to going live. There's always something that's a hiccup, but this is what it is, right? We deal with it, we go forward, we get our heads on straight, and we shoot. That's what being a pro is. Okay, so first of all, welcome. Hope everybody's doing well. This is the stream space right here at Adorama at 42 West 18th Street. So if you're in the area, come drop by the store and check it out. So today we're gonna get into some pretty fun stuff. I'm gonna use a bunch of flashpoint stuff. I got the 300 here. I got the Evolve 200. I got 400s. I'm here to do character lighting. So we're gonna do some portraits based on a feel of a scene rather than trying to make someone just look better, okay? And to do that, I have brought in a model today. I'm gonna call him in a minute. Guys, you guys know Justin from a few of the videos that we've done here at Adorama, actor extraordinaire.
Yes. Thank you for having me. Hi, guys. Hello.
All right, so when it comes to character portraits, what are some of the things we keep in mind? Well, we have to kind of think about not just who Justin is, but what are we trying to have Justin come off as? Because he's not going to be Justin. He's going to be a character, right? Usually we make you like a cop or something. I feel like we always do that.
Like a gritty, like rugged hero.
Yeah, but you got the Wolverine jacket on. So we might... What I think we're going to do is something really special today, actually, is I'm going to first go over how to sculpt light, like actually sculpt the look of your subject with the light. And then I think we're actually going to shoot this way. Let me show you guys really quick what I got in store for you. I think we're going to go this way and shoot against this wall to make this pattern lighting look like an environment. Because it's one thing to get a shot of a portrait of someone, but it's another thing to put them in a scene. It's another thing to give them some sort of feel to what they're doing and why they're there. So let's get into sculpting a little bit so we can show you guys what shadows can do. Because forget your presets, forget the stuff they sold you for half off to make it look cool. You're gonna actually achieve the look you want using lighting. Oh man, who would have thought? Who would have thought? So I'm gonna shoot Justin against this Lasta Light panoramic backdrop, and we're gonna make it pretty black. Nah, get over here.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We're gonna put you about here. Yeah, and yeah, it's just like a piece of garbage on the floor. So pretty much, if you guys look at the space, I actually have him probably maybe about 7 feet away from the backdrop. And the reason I'm doing that is because we're gonna do sculpting with light on Justin, and we don't want the light to spill past Justin onto there. I want you to look at the shadows we're creating, the depth of the scene we're creating. I want you to see how dark your shadow density can get and what you can do to change that density. I think you guys have seen me do stuff all the time. I hope everybody's with me. Is everybody into this so far? Are we gonna get into this? So let's get a look on Justin. Let's start creating a mood, okay? So I'm gonna first I'm gonna make some room. I have 8,000 C-stands here. It's amazing, every time I need a C-stand, there's none around. Every time I just want one, there's too many in the way. I'm gonna use this guy right here, which is a Flashpoint 300. I put it in the S2 bracket, and I have it on a 10 by 24
strip light. There is a grid on here. I'm probably going to take the grid off to start because you can always put the grid back on. But once you get used to the grid, it's kind of hard to dial back a little bit. So I'm going to show you what I mean by that, because I can dial in my shadows with contrast based on the distance of my light to my subject, which is this guy, and also the angle and pitch of my light. So small light, small source, really tight light, not spilling everywhere. We're not using a 5-foot octa on this guy. We're not using huge umbrellas. We're going to make our light cast shadows. I feel like people are scared of shadows. Dan says it all the time. As soon as they see shadows, it's bad light. Is it though? Or can you make it feel like it's organic and doing something for your subject? Okay, I totally put this light on backwards. All right, everybody with me? It's so weird talking to an empty room. This is like my life.
Than what we used to do.
Yeah, we used to make the crowd scream all the time.
Yeah, do the wave.
Yeah, oh no, I think we did the wave once, but we made everybody scream. You know what? Before we even get started, I want everybody that's in this chat to type where you're from. That's my new scream, and everybody scream.
Touch base.
I just want to see a shower of locations going on right there. Okay, I'm gonna throw a sandbag on this guy, just because I know I'm gonna do more of an overhead light. In fact, you know what I'm gonna do, Justin? Let's seat Justin. Go ahead.
Coffee just went in my system, so forgive me.
Have a seat, sir. We're gonna seat Justin, and by seating him, we change his posture right off the bat, right? He goes from this to look, he's leaning into his hip, right? He's got the arm relaxed. Now we can actually have a different feel. Right there off the bat, you have something. Whoa, Westchester, New York, Dallas, Texas, Maplewood, New Jersey. All right, we'll be allowed to let Jersey in here just this once. Okay, so also I want you guys to notice what I have going on is a hair light going on him from the stage light right there. That's an RE150 that just happens to give him a bit of a separation light. So you guys can actually get a sense of what might look right if you're already working in the environment. But we don't have to use that light, or we can use that light. Well, let's see where we go. You know how I like to do these things. We just kind of go with it. But that's also, I feel like, what shooting is. You're never going to have an ideal environment. Even if you have your own studio, there's just times that you're like, oh, I wish I had a little more room or something like that.
You always plan on something or always feel like you got something and something generally goes wrong.
Oh, you mean like today where I had absolutely no internet? Yeah, and we just go live. You gotta get your head back on straight. Okay, first of all, what group did I put this in? Group A, okay, so that works. Okay, so I have a 300. Can you guys see here? I have my 300 on a 1x2. I'm gonna take this grid off for now, just because I'm gonna save it for later right over here. Yeah, look at that. That's pro move right there, guys, pro move. All right, now instead of me nailing Justin like this, I'm gonna pull it in front of him a little bit. And what I'm basically gonna do is let this light feather past Justin, but as it feathers, it spreads and the edge of the light's gonna hit him. This is gonna allow for pulling those shadows. What I think people don't realize is that everything on someone's face is basically a sundial, right? Is he projecting his inner John Stamos?
Once in a while.
That guy doesn't age, so I mean, I'm just saying.
Like Paul Rudd, he doesn't age either.
Paul Rudd doesn't age? Yeah, I guess so. Well, he's got that Marvel money. Somehow it keeps you young. So I'm kidding. So we're gonna actually create shadows for a reason, right? What's the first thing I have to do before I shoot anything though? What's the first thing I need to do before I get into lighting Justin? We wanna get a black frame. We wanna get our exposure in our camera to a place that will give us a normal ISO, the lowest ISO within its range. At this point, it's 100. And we wanna get to an aperture that will cancel out the space. I am using kind of a different setup than I normally use today. I'm gonna use a Nikon Z6 II, but I actually have a 105 macro lens on this thing with an FTZ adapter. The reason I'm doing that is I really love this lens. I really like 105s for dramatic portraiture. It's worked, the 105 I've used on Justin a lot, and it's worked out really well. So the first thing I wanna do before I even put a trigger on this thing is, first I'll get tethered. I can't tell you how many technical problems we had just trying to get internet to work in here. So I apologize if I'm a little off kilter right now. I'm gonna close down to about 5.6 actually gets me pretty dark. If you look at the live view, guys, right? If you look at the live view going on, you can see that this is what an exposure would look like, right? There's Quinn over there. But our light on Justin, completely black. This is a mirrorless camera. So I know that if I shoot this frame, he goes black. Right? Now, this isn't just a black frame though. Remember guys, this frame shows us how dense our shadows will be from where our light is actually going to be hitting. So if I go into this and I pull my exposure around, we've got about 3 stops before that shadow starts opening up. So what does that tell me? Well, this is important. And I think that people kind of brush over this a little bit. Wherever my light isn't is a shadow. If the only light that I'm recording is going to be this Explorer 300, well then that means that that shadow density is 3 stops away from the most highlight I have coming from the most highlight, the worst English ever, from the greatest exposure I'm getting from this light. So that means that highlight on his face, the shadow behind him is 3 stops away. That tells me exactly how much I have to play with as far as my fill light goes. But let's get a shot off because I'm talking like crazy. First, I'm sweating already. Let me just get rid of the hoodie for a second. Everybody with me on that? Oh, look at this. And people are just dropping the links to all the gear in the chat. Look at this. Look at this support. Okay. Let's light. Let me just do a quick test pop. I'm going to go into group A. I'm going to go into TTL, and I'm also going to go into spot metering on my camera. Remember, the way TTL works is the meter in the camera. If it's metering this entire space, it's trying to see what the light that's hitting that back wall that's going black is, and it's also metering him and giving us an average. Well, I don't care about that background. I want it to go black. Why would I want the light to struggle to light that background if I want to go black? So I'm going to go in spot metering mode. I'm going to look at my man Justin over here, and boom. Let's take a look at that. Look at that. That's deep, deep shadow. And you know, some people would be like, well, that's good enough. He looks pretty dramatic. But it really isn't. We can do a lot to clean this up, make it a little bit more, apply light theory to it, and also give him more dimension to other sides of his face, not lose him so much, not lose his hair so much, but it is...
Pretty gritty looking.
It's gritty looking.
That's what you're looking for.
You know? So before I pull out another light, you know what I'm going to pull out? Everybody that's in this chat that follows me knows what I'm going to pull out. We're going to pull out this non-flashpoint, non-glow Brooklyn reflector. Now, here's the thing. You have silver or white, and this is on any reflector, right? The thing with the silver is it gives you this specular reflection. Specular meaning you get this harder light, which means that inside Justin's eyes, when you see him like this and his eyes are dead, I tend to like dead eyes, but everyone yells at me when I do dead eyes.
Yeah.
So...
The thing is you want to look natural, like with someone, like especially in film or any of that kind of performance. Not everybody's smiling.
No, nobody. That's the thing. I don't like shooting smiles. So I'm actually going to take the Brooklyn reflector silver side and be deliberate with where I kick in the light. Now I'm going to do this very typical to start, and then we're going to actually use it to shape. You guys have seen my Fuji 18mm video that just came out on Adorama TV, where I'm using a reflector at night with light sources that I'm finding in the street. Same thing here. If I'm trying to make this look natural but still worth looking at, or give us a little bit more to bite on and chew on for the subject, that's kind of what we're going into. So let me just go back into the tether, right? I'm going to pull this directly underneath. I'm going to look right at Justin, and let's see what happens now. It fills him in enough, but it also gives us this. Look, guys. We still keep this general shape, but now we get this real kick, little piercing pin light right in his eyes. With the white side, it generally will blow light everywhere. Now, instead of me filling in just underneath and making it a very easy to digest light, meaning it's overhead and filled in from underneath, why don't I keep this side dark and work from this side? Then I can introduce a light to this side. I know, we're getting a little nuts here, and I'm kind of getting ahead of myself pretty fast. So watch, instead of doing this, I have all this range of motion, right? if I were to do here, I'm not going to be reflecting on this side of his face. Not reflecting on that side leaves me with a shadow. That shadow gives us that dimension, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold it to this side. I'm going, and also remember, if the light is pitched in a way or gridded to a point where it's not seeing the reflector, meaning if I put my face to the reflector and I don't see the white of my softbox, it's not reflecting, right? If it's over here, how is it reflecting that light? If it's over here, how is it reflecting that light? It's not, because it's not touching this light. So if you put your face where the reflector is and you don't see the white part of your softbox, you're not reflecting anything, kid. Maybe it's a placebo. Enjoy your delusions. Knock yourself out, but it's not happening. All right, so I'm gonna go about here. Now remember, the closer I am, the more it fills in the light. The farther away, the more I keep those shadows. So I'm gonna keep it right about here and not go crazy, because once I go all the way in, I can always back off. But if it's too much off the bat, which I know off the bat, I don't want it too much, I'm making a decision off the bat to go only a little bit in. So let's do that. Oh, I totally screwed up, guys. The frame is going to be terrible. Oh, no, it's not that bad, actually.
No, came out pretty good.
I hit the reflector with my camera, so I thought I kicked it. But look, instead of opening up this whole side of his face, we keep this, right? We keep this density here. And look, this is what subtlety is, guys. Subtlety is what elevates the intention of your shots. Now let's give him a little bit more of an environment, right? Instead of just shaping his face with the light, and I'm trying to do this kind of fast because we're running behind, I'm sorry about that. But do you see where we're already going? This looked, initially you're like, this is drama. But now look, we have a wet look to the eye, right? Now we have a structure here. Look at this corner of his mouth here, and look at the corner of his eye over here. We're getting all of that, right? Like even just, if I were to do this, look at the difference, guys. You see how that temple doesn't go to black? You see how you're actually seeing it there? And I know you're gonna be like, I could just dodge that in post. Well, enjoy spending more of your life clicking a mouse than clicking your camera. Just saying, lighting goes a long way. So now that we have like a bit of a sculpt going for him, let's give him a little bit more of an atmosphere, right? Well, I have this guy right here. I feel like I'm going a mile a minute and I feel bad. I'm going to use this Evolve 200. And the Evolve 200, it comes with a bunch of stuff to snap and clip into here, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw in a barn door, right? Which, let me show you guys. The barn door, which will let me keep the light where I want it. So if I put it behind Justin, I won't have to worry about it hitting the background. I could also put a grid on there where it spills a little bit more and it's not so confined, but it is kept from spreading everywhere. I'm more apt to doing the barn door because what this can do is actually let me control exactly where it's spreading and I won't lose any power on the light. This will eat power a little bit, okay? This will be another thing in front of your lens. I'm sorry, in front of your camera. Oh my God. This will be another thing in front of your light, thus eating light, okay? This will let you use the raw lens of the light, but then make decisions on how tight you want it, okay? So what I'm gonna do though is not just put this on my in the frame. Why am I stuck on these? I keep saying on the camera, like I'm doing something to the camera. It's all about the light today. Sorry guys, I'm kind of going a little too fast here. I'm sorry about that. Let me turn this on and let me put into group B. And then what I'm gonna do is, actually, no, I'm gonna put it into group C. And I'll tell you why I'm gonna do it into group C. Should I go, I wanna put in a fill light, that light will be B. But C, I always know will be my background lights to some degree. C is usually a rim or a hair light for me. D is usually like a background light. And anything beyond that are like effects lights, like we're putting it in the frame or something. Let's put this into the shot. And what I'm gonna do is cheat my brains out. Yep, you heard it here first, kids. I'm going to put a red gel on this. Now, this is where gels become practical rather than just something you're throwing into a shot because it might look cool. This red gel right here, if a light is coming from behind someone to the side, now we're creating an atmosphere. What could be behind Justin in a dark area? How about a neon light? How about a brake light from a car? How about something like that? So red makes sense to me, right? And of course, he's going to look like CSI Miami now, but, you know, we're just going to put that right onto the light with just a real quick clothespin. And I'm going to use the modeling light to aim where I want it, okay? And Justin's going to stay where I put him. Hold on, why is this light all... Oh, whoever's using my stands in this space, you need to reset them. I will not work like this.
It cannot work.
So I also have a decision to make here. If I go higher and I project down, that's more like a neon sign from some sort of bar or a wall or something, right? But if it's more at Justin's height, he could be next to like a tail light at a car, right? That makes sense based on the height. You have to think of these things about where you're putting the person as far as a scene goes, and then what makes sense. So let's start off with it kind of being more like I'll split the difference. We'll do kind of like, it could be a car, it could be a bar scene, it could be anything. Let's take a look.
Maybe a dark room.
Oh, maybe a dark room.
Yeah,
look at you.
Like a photographer, like an investigative journalist.
Look at you. Look at you. Look at you. Look at you. I'm gonna go into group C. I'm gonna put it into manual, and I am going to put it at half power. And the reason I'm doing that is it's going to eat up a ton of light between the barn doors and the gel. I know I said the barn doors doesn't eat up light, but you also have to realize it doesn't spread as much, so our perception of the light gets a little less exposed, if that makes sense. So I'm just gonna quickly, we're gonna, of course, put our reflector in there. Now remember, if that red light hits this reflector, there's gonna be red in his face. But I'm okay with that because if it gets filthy light like that, we kind of look more organic, right? That red light could be reflecting off of a no parking sign near him and filling his face in a little bit. These things are this is what life is, kids. Okay.
You want me to try looking somewhere like it's a scene?
You can look towards like my arm or something. Yeah. Give me like an expression though. Well, I hit the camera again, like a move. But here you go.
That's an expression there. Look at that.
He's like, is that a baby in that car?
I can give you a better one.
So think about it, right? Like all we did was throw a red hair light in there and all of a sudden he's investigating a strip club, right? Like it's a whole nother thing, right? But this is just quick examples of what is happening. And you can let the viewer be a participant here, right? You can let them make up their mind as what's going on. And that's why images get more connection from the viewer, because you're letting them participate in the shot by making up the story. But if you're trying to really nail in a story for somebody, your decisions have to get tighter and tighter and tighter to a point where their mind doesn't wander so much. You know, that their mind actually goes where you want it to go, because every decision you make in the frame is like a word in a sentence, right? That sentence makes sense. They understand what you're saying. It's all a language. Remember that. Now let's try it without the bounce, just to see what it looks like. So look how much of a difference that makes, right?
Well, the expression is definitely.
When you take away, when you take out the reflector, he gains 50 IQ points. It's kind of amazing. So look at the difference here. You're making decisions, right? Now let's say I split the difference. I put this reflector pretty far out and a little underneath, just to give him a little bit of a.
I'm gonna try to raise my eyes.
Raise my eyes.
I gotta look up.
Just to give him a little bit of a something, but nothing crazy. Turn to me a little bit. Yeah. Just a little something, but not a lot. And now we have we split the difference between this, and oh, man, guys, I am all thumbs today. I apologize. I feel like Facebook curses. I get cursed. Now look at this, guys. You see that there's actually a little bit of red inside the shadows? You see the difference? So with before, here's the shadow. Now, look at the shadow. See how it's red in here as opposed to just a dense shadow? Now, and even the catch light has a little bit of a red kick to it, right? This sells the environment. So to all those people that go into Photoshop and go, I'll just make that light red and select it. You might not be 100% accurate because light acts a certain way. We know how light is predictable. However, if you're sitting there trying to make a fake reaction of what light is doing, you might forget a couple things and it might not look right. And then people who have been looking at light their entire life, like any other human, might disconnect from your image because they feel like there's something not right there. Here, the red reflecting into him a little bit, look at that.
Yeah, it looks cool.
And even like the red in the shadows, you know what I mean? Like even on this side of your face, all this red that comes in, now it's like reflecting off of a bar top, right? The bar itself, that resin top, that shiny, glossy, gummy top is reflecting a little bit of red light into his face. Now you're in an environment here. Let me see something actually. I wonder if I can make that light. Okay, so now I'm gonna use, why not make my life more difficult, right? That stage light that I showed you guys before, I don't think you're gonna see it now. There's an Ari light on the other side of him. Can you guys, you know what, I'll swing this just so you guys know what I'm talking about. So that light right there, right here, that's a 150 Ari 150 actually. And it's bright and it's tungsten, it's another light. Well, what if I made that part of the background, I shoot up a little bit? What if I start making this really difficult on myself? If I put that in the background, now we have a bit of a stage light, we have a red light, and we have our shadows that are sculpting Justin. So let's see what we get when I do that, all right? I'm going to try to find oh boy, you are going to be right up your nostril, buddy.
You want me to bring my head down?
No, right there's great. Let's take a look at what we got here. So now we have a bit of a soprano thing going on here. You can actually see up here that there's a little bit of flaring happening, but if I put that right in my lens, right? Let me do this. Oh wow, I gotta put it like right in my lens. If I put it right in my lens, now we have a little bit of an atmosphere. We got Brad Pitt about to open up a trunk outside of a strip club. Who knows what's in it? But those shadows are blocking his eyes. So now we're more connected to the scene than we are our character, right? Well, if I take this and I take all the elements, look at that. Now we don't just have a portrait of Justin. We have a character in a scene somewhere, right? Actually, I really want to put that in frame. So, and I chose the longest lens ever. Now look, what is that? Is that a street light over there? Is it distracting? Yeah, to me, it's a little distracting, but it gives you an idea of what you can do. What I can do is drag my shutter. Oh, now we're getting a little crazy. I can drag my shutter to make that light source, that's a constant light source, more prevalent in my image. I already know I have 3 stops before my lights in this environment affect my shot. Well, I'm gonna dial this down and see what we get, because I'm a masochist.
I'm gonna try and use the same spot.
I'm a masochist. Let's see. Oh, there it is. Oh, I'm looking at the wrong light. And now what you see is subtle changes, like his hair is actually picking up more of the light over here. You're seeing the background actually stop being black. So there's all these things you can kind of mess with. Now I'm going to make myself even hate my life even more. You guys ready? Do you guys want to see me make myself hate my life even more before I go to setup number 2? Because this is going to be awesome. What is this? Is this, nope, wrong size. All right. So I know you guys love your little black mist filters and all that stuff. I'm going to take a really low cost filter and smudge it up. And what that's going to do is take that light that's behind Justin and make it flare like bananas. Although bananas don't really flare. So flare, no. I'm going to screw this on the top. I'm going to take this secret sauce right here. And do it right. And I'm actually painting in where I want that flare. And then I'm going to look. Oh yeah, this is going to be a lot of flare. It's a modern lens. It's hard to flare it. Firing? There it is. So now he's One-Eyed Joe who just got poked in the eye. Let's get that flare a little tighter. There we go. Yeah. So now we're not flaring for flare's sake. We're doing something with it. I actually want to back up a little bit and give you some breathing room. And so there you go, guys. Justin is at a bar. There's something going on stage. He's talking to the guy next to him, trying to get some info out of him. He's not buying anything this guy is saying. And look at that. Look at that, guys. Dark eyes, but we connect. Dark eyes, but we connect. And just so you guys know, looking through this lens with this on, it is a complete mess. So the camera even being able to autofocus through it is awesome. And you yourself have to kind of understand where you're putting that flare so you're not monopolizing the scene with it. I do want to do one horizontal for you. And then I'm going to do scene number 2. There you go. Look at that. Look at, so I screwed up with the reflector on the second shot. But look at,
my mouth weird in this shot.
Look at that.
I thought it looked cool, but it didn't. Sometimes when you just try things to see if they work, and they just don't. But that's why you get a nice session.
Let me get one more. Justin knows when I call him in, it's going to be some like...
It's always a good time.
Now I'm overthinking the flare. I'm overthinking the flare. Look at this guy. Although now that flare looks like you have some Dragon Ball Z hair.
Yeah. My favorite show. I'm cool with it.
I like this one, but I don't like where I framed you. I want to get your brow line higher. So, guys, I'm just going to get this shot, then we're going to go on to another one, okay? It's really not easy doing all this. I'm shooting one-handed, chin down a little bit. What's cool is, as I move, I can watch the flare show up as soon as I clear his head. I don't like that. See, I don't like the way the flare is coming down like that. Yeah, I'm not a fan of that. It's like you can have all the words for your movie over here.
Yeah.
You know? Everybody with me on that? One more frame. I'm just going to...
Try. You're going for it.
It's, you know, it's just... I can't see through the flare.
Right here?
Turn straighter.
Right here?
Yeah, and then... There we go. So now he's in a theater. There's an exit sign on the right side of him. The theater's projecting. He's looking for that guy. He's got a flashlight, which is showing up in his own eyeball as he looks for whoever he's looking for in that theater. Do you see how quickly that story got made and how the light is telling that story, how Justin seals it for me with the way he's posing? All right, guys, that's setup number 1. Let's go into setup number 2 where we give him a little bit more of a physical background, okay? Is everybody with me? How's everybody feel about that shot? We into that shot?
See where you're going with it, and then look at what we made.
Well, I wasn't even going to go that way, and then I started looking at that light behind you, and I was like, you know what? We're going to do this. And also what works in here is the different colors and temperatures of light, right? Like if this was a white light, it would be distracting. But because we have this warm tint to it, it works on Justin. We still stay connected to him. Look how dimensional his nose looks, right? Yeah, we have some burn lines from the red, but it's an effect. It's not supposed to be perfect exposure. If that red was a perfect exposure, I would be suspicious of it as like, oh, someone lit this. But I really do kind of believe it. If anything, I think the key light is a little exposed too much, just because a flashlight would not be emitting this much light back at somebody. So if I were to do this, I'd probably play with it a little longer, get the light a little tighter, and not have it hit so much on the forehead, you know? And then it wouldn't be this much of an exposure, honestly. It would probably be like closer to that, you know? And I would make the spread of the light not hit the forehead so much. But I really want to get into the second setup because I haven't shot this way in this space ever, and I want to do it. Okay, so what you guys don't know is there's a whole nother side to this room. Let me show you guys what we're going to do. So for the first time ever, I'm going to shoot this way. What camera was this shot with? A Nikon Z6 II with a with a 105 2.8 with the FTZ adapter. So this is an adapted older Nikon lens with the newer Nikon body. That is a flashpoint Explorer 300 with a 10 by 24, is it a 24? Yeah, 10 by 24 strip box. In 20-ish minutes, it went from simple shot to that final shot. Amazing. Yeah, guys, it's not amazing what can be done with light. What do we do as photographers? We either document light or we create the light we want to document. You know what I'm saying? So you could look at a scene and have 10 photographers shoot it completely different with the same light because they're exposing differently. They're seeing what is more of a key player to the scene as far as the light goes. Don't forget what we do here. We light, we shoot light, we capture light, you know? So yeah, it's the 105 2.8. Yeah. I love this lens. I got to tell you, ever since I picked it up, I've been all over it. I really love it. I shoot a lot of product with it too. Okay, so what we're gonna do is I'm actually wondering if I should put you here or there.
What do you want?
I don't know what this looks like with the lens yet. Let me show you guys what we're shooting into. So this is the other side of the room, and there's Quinn.
Hi, Quinn.
And these lights, leave her alone, you creep. Okay. So I'm gonna put Justin. See, the problem is I have this height problem. Let me see what we can do here. Let me go a little wider. There we go. So we have Quinn in the background, we have Justin foreground, and then I can shoot here. And going this way, all of this will go out of focus, right? So what will that give us? A little bit of a street light type feel. It's a gray wall with a light projected on it and a woman in the background looking undiscerning. Isn't this everybody's usual day? All right, so basically we're starting over, guys. We're in a new environment, basically. The light that's in the space isn't the same that's over here. I also need to light Justin. I'm gonna use a similar light. And now in this case, we don't want a black frame. Why don't we want a black frame? Because I want that light behind him to show up. But what I do want is for Justin to be a blacked out silhouette. The blacked out silhouette will give me a lot of leeway to light him differently than the way that light is going on behind her. So we're gonna go and I'm gonna shoot this really quick with no strobe. So this is what it's looking like. And it's actually focusing on him as a silhouette. And if I just took this shot at the aperture I'm at, this is kind of what we're looking at. But now look, I get the shape of the lights on the wall outlining his head. I get her in the background, kind of cool. But see how he's a silhouette? That means that I can fill in his shadow. That means I can fill in his silhouette. So that's what I'm gonna do. So now because we're in a scene that has overhead lights on her, I'm gonna do an overhead light on him, but I'm not gonna do it clean. Whoop, well, that was a good ceiling. So what I mean by that is, what I'm gonna do is kind of make this a little off angle. So it goes a little bit on his a little bit on his shoulder, a little bit off his shoulder. I'm gonna make the darker shoulder where Quinn is. So we have light, shadow, light. We're completing this image left to right. Okay, right to left actually. So let's just take a look really quick. Man.
I'm going to be playing too to see what we can get here.
So look, this is what I'm looking at, right? And the camera focuses on a silhouette, by the way, which is incredibly difficult. And this is kind of what we're looking at. So now I'm going to turn on this light. I'm actually going to go into group C and turn off that red light behind me before it turns into a mess. Let me go into mode, off, group A. Okay, so now I'm going to focus on him. And this is at f6.3, right? So now look, right? Now we have a bit of a scene going on here. We have her behind him, right? Now, if I back up just a little bit, watch what happens. You start seeing where the light divides, right? So now you see how this shoulder goes dark. Oh, I'm doing it over here. You see, I'm working two computers.
You don't know which one you're going to.
So his shoulder goes dark here because I'm lighting for this shoulder. She's another bright spot. So we have connection to Justin, separation between them two, and then we have a noticing of Quinn back there. Do you see how we're using this as a tool to show what we're trying to do. I do think that I like the light a little bit hot on him, just because that's what normal lights would look like. They wouldn't be perfect exposures all the time. They really wouldn't, guys. And I think it looks really clean. I mean, look at this.
Yeah, yeah.
You know? So now what can I do? Well, I can do a couple things. I can either tell Justin to put his chin up towards the light a little bit. And this will kind of give me a little bit of an easy time, right? See that? Now we went from this scene where we have this great hair but no connection to a little bit of connection going on here. Or we have our reflector right here that I'm not going to do on this side. Look. I know. It's really humid up here. It is. Okay. I'm like, all right. I was like, am I really? Dude,
I'm the winter kind of guy.
I'm a fall guy. I get you. Well, I'm like, am I this out of shape? You know. So look, I'm not going to put the reflector here. Why? Because I want this shadow over here. I want the key light, shadow, Quinn, right? So what am I going to do? I'm going to shape him this way, guys. Okay. So we're so close. I'm going to go right like this. I'm going to step back, first of all. Wow, I chose the longest lens for this. And look at that. Still natural, still believable, but instead of losing his throat completely, and we also get that clean catch light. Believable, right? Believable. So we're in this environment with him. You know, you guys with me? You guys with me? All right, their expressions are the same, they said. That's funny. That's funny.
I'll try something different.
Let's give you a little bit more room. I'm going to push this in a little tighter. Man, I am like... There you go. Look at that, guys. Look at that.
I have a little bit of an upturn on the right side of my face. You got something different.
So I could probably do with a little less exposure from the key light on Justin. So I'm going to put the light into TCM mode, and I'm going to dial it down just a half a stop. Okay, right. Same. Yeah. Can you give me the same thing?
Yeah, I'll give you.
Oh, that didn't even dial the light down. Okay. Let me dial the light down a little bit more. Yeah. She like, don't worry, I'll be home late, you know?
Yeah.
There we go.
This like hero about to leave home thing.
How you guys feel about this? I got like no reactions on here, so.
Quinn's killing.
I know, Quinn's the best. Quinn's the best. Actually, let's get more of a Quinn right behind you.
Maybe I can get more angry.
Here, I'm gonna do it like this. Vertical, Quinn right behind him. Quinn right behind him. Now it's an episode of Doctor Who where those mannequins come alive, or the angels, or whatever they are.
Yeah, I didn't even...
Let's try a couple verticals, and I think we're good.
Yeah. Got this like, maybe I'm a little upset at her.
Be like, shut up about my mom, you know?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's me going way too far with the light. Oh, the trigger's dying, guys. I might have to change the batteries, and that might be what's affecting the light right now, to be honest with you. It happens. Turn it to me a little more. Yeah. Oh, bad shot, bad shot. I'm going all hair trigger today. I don't know why. All hair triggers. There we go.
Yeah, a little grimace.
See how, like, now the light isn't super overexposed on him? It's a little bit more easy to digest. And it's sharp, man. We're good. I wish I could go farther away, but if I do, I got to put this on a stand. And I just want to do one for me. See that? Break the shadow on the other eye. It's just enough. Just enough.
So look at how cinematic that looks.
I mean, that's why my whole thing, I love cinematic. I grew up watching Scorsese, you know what I mean? I modeled my lighting off of Fight Club for half my career, you know what I mean? So this is kind of what happens though, you know what I mean?
That's a cute shot.
If I take this off, you guys can see the whole appeal of it with her in the background and everything. Now you're just staging your scene, right, guys? Yeah, I could put the reflector on a stand, but I'm kind of capping out this demo, guys. We are way over time, and I've got to jump off a little bit. Okay, let me put you guys back. Here, let me do what I always do. So we started out. Look at this journey we took, guys. Look at this. We started out here. We started putting in all this type of stuff for Justin, right? Started giving him more of an environment. Then we gave him the whole Brad Pitt thing. We gave him a background, but then we said that background could be better. And we started giving him something that looked like this. And then we started doing a little craziness over, you know, he's looking for that guy in that movie theater. Then we gave him something to do with Quinn. And we started cleaning up that look with Quinn pretty fast. We did some verticals. And look at everything we did. Boom, 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 boom. All with keeping the idea and the theory of where is Justin, who is Justin, and what are the light sources that would be believable in the scene we're creating with Justin. And the scene comes in because your lighting can be your atmosphere. When I shoot all that special effects stuff, it's against black backgrounds. I don't know many things that just exist in a black background. So, you make an atmosphere. I mean, look what happened in Raging Bull, right? He fogged out the entire boxing ring to give it some environment rather than having a crowd, right? Now you see every fitness photo is done with fog.
Yep.
Did you know that everybody works out in fog? I didn't know that, but apparently that's a thing.
It is a thing. You'd be surprised. It was on set for the film I did. Like I was at the fog. Got the fog. It's a thing.
Fog actually is a big thing. If you have to remember that light doesn't illuminate air. So when you have like just a little bit of just a touch, not making it look like fog, but just a touch, instead of being death black, the fog illuminates, Crushing it this week. Thanks so much, Kurt. I appreciate it. If you guys want to follow me, it is right here. Last Ex-Witness on all social. And if you want to follow Justin.
Oh, yeah, just throw the tag. Yeah, it's Justin C. Schilling for everything across the board. Justin C as in cat, Schilling, SCHILLING. Please follow me. I'd love it.
And if he's smart, he'll write a comment on this live.
Yes. Please, I do have a film that just came out that I got some awards for. It's been, I'd love to share it if anybody's interested in film and good acting and a nice neo-Western thriller. Please hit me up. I'd love to share it with you.
Neo-Western thriller.
It came out really good. It just was released. So please. Thank you so much, guys.
No
Thanks
problem.
for having me.
And so imagine that. Imagine he calls me in. He goes, hey, I shot a neo-Western thriller and I want to do some promo photos for it. Well, where would I shoot that? How would I shoot that? What light source would I use? You guys feel me? All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. Me and Justin got to get out of here. I appreciate it. Sorry about the hiccup in the live. And thanks for sticking with it, guys. Check out Flashpoint Lighting on Instagram. You can check out me right here and Justin C. Schilling. Be good to each other, guys. Later.